Excellent. So welcome. Look, it's a Monday night, so let's not hang around. If you've just joined us, my name's Nigel. I'm part of the team that brings the Energy Breakthrough to you each and every year. And of course, this year, a few changes with the RSEV withdrawing their support, but we are resolved to continue with this great quality education event all the same without them. And that is why we need people like you to volunteer with us this year. Thank you for making the time. I do hope that we'll hit about 45 minutes to an hour to get through what we want to get through tonight, and we are recording this as well. So we will be putting this onto YouTube tomorrow for people to watch as well. But good for you to be online now so you can pop in some questions and just hear it real time. So welcome, and let's get cracking. So this will be the overview of the session tonight. Hopefully we get through all 5 or 6 parts reasonably promptly and reasonably well. We'll start by giving you an overview of the Energy Breakthrough. Obviously, what are the volunteering roles and what do they involve? Quick summary on safety, because that's obviously important. So an update on our Marshal training program and who needs a Working with Children check. Accommodation options, so if you are coming, where can you stay and how can you sort that out? Some volunteer perks, and then the next steps from here. So that's the run. Let's get cracking. So the Energy Breakthrough is powered by imagination. I know a lot of people who are online tonight will have been involved in the Energy Breakthrough before, participated in some way, and you will know that this is definitely true. It's a joint initiative of the Country Education Partnership, who works to support regional and rural schools to make sure that rural schools are not disadvantaged in any way, and that really comes through in the program. And then obviously our host city, which is Central Goldfields Shire Council. So both of those bodies do work together to bring the event on, and it's been running since 1991. So a long time and a long build. To give you a sense of that, in the first year there was 23 teams participating from across mostly regional areas, and now we have over 350 teams from 150 schools. The Energy Breakthrough is not just a once-a-year event. School groups are working right now to build and design and test their machines, ready to bring them to Maryborough in not too far away. These are our partners and our sponsors, so we break that into 2 groups, Country Education Partnership and the Council on the top rung, and then our program sponsors being the Department of Education, Vic Roads, La Trobe University, Central Highlands Water, and True Foods as well. So we're really thankful to their support because, well, you know, without them we wouldn't have an event, and without an event we wouldn't need volunteers. So that's why we're here tonight doing what we're doing. We really believe that our program is the best active learning program and event for primary and secondary schools, and it aligns with the National Education Policy. So to give some of you some background on the Energy Breakthrough, these are what our aims are. Some of these may be familiar to you, but I will go through each of them because I think it's really important that if you're going to participate and support our event in some way as a volunteer, that you do have a good understanding of what we're all about. So the Energy Breakthrough aims to provide an excellent technology project for students from prep to VCE levels. So that says a couple of things. One, we go all the way through from primary school all the way to VCE, but also that tells us that we actually stop at when high school stops. So unlike other programs, other events that are around the country in HPV world, we only deal with school students, participating school students. I know there's a number of community teams out there who would love to participate in the Energy Breakthrough, but part of our funding and part of our involvement and part of our event means that we just cater for school students. Aim number 2 is that we really encourage young people to explore solutions to environment and transport issues. And you'll see that fairly clearly through most of the programs and the events that we run. They're all skewed to supporting those aims. We want to provide opportunities for schools and their communities to work together and to learn together. And this is something that we hear time and again, that parents come together, they enjoy the weekend together, they support their schools, they support their sons, daughters, all sorts of involvement across the weekend. And often these are families and people that wouldn't normally come together. We really strive to provide an opportunity for women and girls to participate in what's traditionally been a male-dominated area of the curriculum, being technology, but we also believe that's actually a really strong part of our event, that with so many girls involved in our event and so many categories that require teams to have an equal number of girls and boys participating, that we've avoided it becoming too macho along the way. So we're really proud of that, and we hope that does continue. Importantly, we want the program to be really fun. We want it to reflect real-world challenges as well. And we want to offer students ways to really look into and address vehicle design, driving skills, vehicle and passenger safety issues. And to some of you, that one might stick out a little bit from the others, but when you think about the students or young people who are getting their license for the first time, be it learners or P-plates, they're the students, they're the young people, should I say, they're not usually students anymore, who are really at risk on our roads. And that applies to metro, country, all sorts of young people. So we want to really instill in them thoughts about driving skills and safety from a young age. And that's why that's part of our aims, because yeah, we just want to see young people and all people being safe on our roads. Our mission is to inspire young Australians to embrace learning, to be creative, innovative, and to drive change through the power of collaboration. We want to celebrate human endeavour and achievement, to respect and care for the environment and for our communities. That's our mission. This comes through our 5 categories and 3 assessment areas. And so I know some of these will be really familiar to the people who are online tonight, but I just want to run through each of them because I know a lot of our volunteers who join us, they do have a lot of involvement often with the HPV area or the EEV area, but maybe not so much some of our other areas. So we have 5 unique categories. The first being the innovations in technology, which is the first one on the left here, sponsored by Central Highlands Water for a long time. And through this, there's a couple of different challenges that they have to compete. One is crafty design. So they need to transport a Coke can or a soft drink can down the length of a channel without using fossil fuels. So it might be air pressure, it might be mouse traps, it might be all sorts of different things that the primary school students do to participate in that. Another one is a junkyard challenge. So we set a whole lot of junk, scrap materials, all sorts of recycled items, and give them a challenge where they have to build a crane that will maneuver litres of water to another spot in an area over a time. So that's a great primary school challenge. Yeah, lots of energy and excitement around that in the innovations in technology category. Second one is the pushcarts. So the pushcarts participate across all the different areas, but include a sprint, an obstacle course, and an endurance event. This is again just for primary school students. The triathlon, it actually started about 15 years ago, the triathlon, as an overflow event. So we were full in some of our other categories, and then this was born out of that need. But actually it's become a category with a life of its own and a passionate little following all of its own. We now have 73 entries for the triathlon this year. So they do a super fun obstacle course, which has rumble strips and a ramp and a seesaw and all sorts of cool stuff in a human-powered vehicle. And they also do a time trial, and then they do an 8-hour endurance event. So that's a great category. It's actually the most widely assessed category in the event now. The fourth one is the human-powered vehicles, which is probably quite familiar to most of you, but this is a vehicle, minimum of 3 wheels, powered by pedals only. So, and they compete for 14 hours if you're in primary school, or 24 hours if you are secondary school students. So a lot of excitement, a lot of energy there. Definitely our most popular category, and those fill up in seconds. And finally, the fifth is our most technical one, so our energy efficient vehicles, also known to some people as hybrid powered vehicles. Fuel restrictions and battery restrictions mean that these teams have to work out how to complete 24 hours with a limited resources, and they compete with the secondary human powered vehicle teams over the 24 hours. And this is where a lot of the advanced learning and advanced aspects of the energy breakthrough come to life. Underpinning all of this is three assessment areas: display and presentation, design and construction, and our trials. So in each of those components, students are assessed on and challenged about what they know and what they've learnt, and also what they can, what they've built, and then actually testing in the trial element how well their creation actually goes. In terms of impact, the energy breakthrough has just been building and building year on year over the 28 years of its involvement. So 4,000 students competed last year in 355 teams. They were from 155 schools. At the event itself, 20,000 people rocked up. Supporters, family, friends actually came to the event, and the economic impact for the Central Goldfields region was $4.7 million. So very significant for the township of Maryborough and the region itself, and in terms of accommodation, in terms of food, in terms of transport, all of those sort of aspects, it certainly lifts the entire town. And when you consider that the population of Maryborough is somewhere, I always get this wrong, I think about 7,000, 8,000 people. I'm sure there's some Maryborough people on the line today who will correct me. You know, we're very much doubling to tripling the population of the town over a weekend. Our reach, and in terms of where schools and people are coming from, I love this chart. It certainly shows in the best way, shape or form where people come from, and you can see some real clusters there around the Bendigo and the Ballarat areas, and also Metro Melbourne. But you can also see that we are out in rural and regional schools as well, all the way up near Mildura, near Rochester, and all the way down to the South Australian border as well. So this is where all the schools come from to participate in the energy breakthrough, and it actually started with schools out in the Mallee area, so out in Western Victoria. In 1991, quick history lesson, 1991, teams from that area were coming to the Country Education Partnership and saying, hey, can we head across to the Peddlepree over in Adelaide? You know, can you support us? Can you back us? And the CEP team at the time got hold of this and thought, hey, well, what if we ran an event of our own, and what if we added some assessment elements as well? And from there, the energy breakthrough was born. Many of you would be familiar with this scene here. This is our event site in Maryborough. Spans a number of kilometres in Maryborough, and features two courses as well, or two tracks, should I say. These are our tracks for this year and our site layout. The top one in the top right is now called Track 1, previously called the RSEV track. 1.58 kilometres in length, and 10 corners or 10 Marshal points. And our new for 2018, our Vic Roads track is 9 Marshal points and 1.1 kilometres long. In here as well, we have campsites. Then most of the areas in green are camping areas, and the yellow or cream areas are our entertainment precincts, so our Energy Expo and our slideshow and carnival areas. And a lot of the assessment, or well, all the assessment areas happen down around those grey marquees near the Energy Expo, where the pushcart marquee is, display and presentation, design and construction areas as well. Phew. So that was a rather speedy overview of the energy breakthrough. I know that there's quite a bit there, and I also know that most of you may already know some of that information, but it is good to get everyone on the same page about what we're talking about and who we're talking about. So the next question is obviously, what are the volunteering roles? Because we're here to talk about volunteering. So volunteering, yes, it is a fantastic way to make a valuable contribution to the energy breakthrough community. We really appreciate that. And we offer a wide range of volunteering skills. So if you're interested in really anything from education to the energy breakthrough to technology to event management, to communications to social media, we can use your skills. We have a number of judging roles available. These are judging and marshalling roles in display and presentation, design and construction, pushcarts, and innovation. So I'll go through those ones first. These are the ones where we do need a number of volunteers, or the most number of volunteers. Then we have other roles, which include HPV marshalling, just for the secondary track or the track 1 only. We have roles in our communications and our event operations center. We have roles for the MC and the trackside entertainment, i.e. being the stages and creating that atmosphere for people. And finally, joining our social media team. When do we need people? This is probably the question that I'm asked most often when people want to know about volunteering, because I guess there becomes that intersection between what people want to do and then also when they're actually needed. And this is a great little chart. I'll circulate this out. I'll put it on the website as well. But it really displays really clearly, I think, for people when roles are needed and how many we'll need. So just starting at the top there, in terms of display and design and construction, over the Thursday, Friday, we need lots of people, 60 people to help us out with display and presentation each day there. Design and construction, 24 people. Pushcarts, 18 for Thursday, Friday, and about 8 on Saturday. On the stages, you'll see that goes up and down over the weekend. Obviously, we have more events happening on Friday and more events on Saturday, so we need more people there. Support roles, so event operations and comms roles. Marshals, well, we do work with community groups around there, but we need hundreds of people to fill those spots. There's always slots available at 2 a.m. if you're happy to support us in those roles. And then our social media team, we do like to keep quite neat and tidy. But if people do have skills and gifts in that area, then we're more than happy to take more people on board. So our first area of need is display and presentation. Sure, that's great, but what is involved from a volunteer point of view? So first of all, it is a 20-minute presentation to judges. And if you can see from this previous slide here, you'll see that some teams, like this primary school team on the left, they've got themselves dressed up, and by the looks of they're going for a Mad Hatter Tea Party theme. So this is all about this school and this group of students explaining and sharing with everyone their journey to the energy breakthrough and what they've done throughout the year, how they've engaged with the community, and how they've worked together as a team. You'll see the team on the left. It's St Paul's Anglican Grammar from Warragul, and they're talking through how they've built different parts of the vehicle and how they've worked together as a team. Again, the focus of this is actually really about the journey to the energy breakthrough. They're assessed in 2 areas, verbal and visual. So it really talks about how the presentation's been delivered, what the teamwork looks like, their knowledge and understanding of the vehicle, and the entry, and also a development of the story throughout the year. And then the visual display, and this includes their posters or other materials they might have brought. What's the layout like? How well is it organized? And what is the quality like? You know, have they used easy to read fonts and easy to read information, or is it a little bit tricky to engage with and enjoy? So this is an area where on each panel we aim to get 3 panelists on each panel, preferably a young person, preferably an older person from the community, and preferably someone with a background in education. That tends to cover a few different viewpoints, and then after each 20-minute panel, there is a small break for the teams to confer and then discuss and decide on a score. All of those are collated onto a master sheet and they go from there. How long do we need for these rolls? We ask people to get to Maryborough by about 8 o'clock, 8:30 on the Thursday and the Friday, and then those sessions will run through till about 5:30 each day. You can do half days on this, but certainly our preference is for full days, and part of the reason for that is that that helps us keep the judging panels consistent and to use the minimum sort of moderation that's required. That's display and presentation. The second set of volunteer needs that we have is in design and construction. And this is a more technical conversation around what they've built, what vehicles they've built and why, and what materials they've used, and the choices behind those materials. It's much more of a discussion around the design and construction processes than in display, where obviously that is a display and a formal presentation. As part of this, we really want to look at how much effort and input the team has put into the process, what the innovative and quality aspects of the vehicle is, their understanding of what's been built and why it's been built, any safety elements, any particular features that will keep themselves or other participants safe, the practicality, stability, and on-road performance. So this really ties in, have they done any testing in the vehicle? Have they practiced it? Have they tried it in the rain and the wet? And that ties into the next point about driver training and skill development as well. The final point there does tie into understanding of environmental issues, and this isn't such a broad question of environmental issues, but it asks what recyclable materials did you use, where did you source them from, what's the environmental impact of your vehicle and transport more generally from this project onwards. So that's where that ties in. The next category that I wanted to talk about is around the pushcarts, and this is a super fun area but needs a lot of manpower and a lot of energetic people to help run it. So I really do hope that we get some takers and some supporters with this one. It's a really great way of introducing energy use and technology to young students. It's purely for primary school students, and the vehicles are based on the Humble Billy Cart. They've got teams of 10, so they can work together to build a pushcart, and we see some really wacky and crazy designs here. We see people using old ironing boards for different things. We see them using all sorts of different materials, old car seats, all sorts of things to create their machines, and it's really good. So as well, family and friends always attend in high numbers. So if that just creates a great atmosphere and a great vibe. Quick talk through what they have to do in these areas. So on Thursday, design and construction day, but this is a little bit different. It's much more hands-on. Students have to assemble their pushcart from flat pack to race ready in 20 minutes. So you as judges actually observe the students putting together their pushcart right in front of your eyes. It's super fun, and you're watching how well they work together as a team, how well they understand the pushcart, and also get to ask them a few different questions at the end. Obviously, once they've constructed that, that then transfers into a scrutineering process to make sure it's safe and ready to race for the next day. On Friday, they complete display and presentation, very similar to the 20-minute panels that the secondary ones do, but just 15 minutes for these ones. They do an endurance of around the Vic Roads track. How do we get the 2.2 kilometres? They do 2 laps, so 2 laps of the 1.1 kilometre circuit in a relay. So one team member pushes a distance, then they do a changeover, and then they are pushed to the next changeover. So we always need marshals there to marshal those changeover zones. There's an obstacle course as well on Friday, which is a short, sharp relay around Witches Hats. It's near the Rotunda site, which is just near the primary school camping area. And then on Saturday, we take over the front straight of track 1 for a really fast and fun sprint relay event. So that's super, and that is the pushcart. So yeah, we usually get a team to work together on that program over a few days. So it's great if you're available to volunteer Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is a great one to be a part of that team for. Saturday only is for innovations in technology, and I did give these guys a quick overview before, so here are some of the designs. They do complete, just like the others, they do complete display and presentation, design and construction, plus a performance test or trial. This is just on Saturday from about 8 o'clock through till about 3 p.m. And there's two of those categories that I did mention before, crafty design and junkyard challenge. So the crafty design where they have the channels and they've got to run the full soft drink can, and then the junkyard challenge where they need to use all the different range of materials to move a 3-litre container of water 1.5 meters. So it's, yeah, cool challenge, lots of energy, lots of excitement there as well. Away from judging, there are a whole lot of other roles that we always need a hand in that are back of house. Yep, they sure aren't glamorous, but they're an important part of any event and making sure that ours runs in a safe and a fun manner. So this can be a whole range of things, from site setup, track management, site management, across the board, handling general inquiries at our front desk, assisting with our Wi-Fi network, all sorts of different roles and things that are available. If you even want to do some judging one day and then do some of these things another day, if you want some more event management experience or some of that sort of engagement with the program, or you just love pushing around barriers and things like that, this could be the role for you, and we're totally happy to work with you to make sure that you're doing something that you really enjoy. MC and stages. So this is, well, this is kind of where I started out when I was a volunteer back in the day. And one thing that people, and you lovely people on Facebook Live at the moment, may really remember and appreciate about the Energy Breakthrough is the atmosphere, the music, and, well, our anthem, the Eye of the Tiger. And look, it is a special part of our event, but it does always take a lot of manpower as well. A lot of the team that have worked with us in this area in the past are finishing up. They're not available this year and moving on to other ventures. So we're really looking to revitalize this and rebuild this into a new team for this year. So if you're handy with a microphone, confident and keen to be a part of that, that would be great. We do just want to continue to manage that and just make sure it is such a great experience for people. Social media team, this is led by our team leader, Tegan Weston. So it really is a way of capturing the event through social media. There's a video series that's been published over a number of years called EBTV, and we run Facebook, YouTube updates. We also ran Instagram and Snapchat last year. Over the course of the event period last year, this team, I can't say we, the team produced 9 news stories and 17 video clips. They're a great team, really passionate. And so the role that we're looking for here, to be really clear, is that we're looking for roving reporters to be out there getting story leads, images, and then content, and sending it back to Tegan, who will then polish it up, proof it, and publish it. So we had some great stories last year about the reasons and the motivations why some teams were participating, and they're some of the stories that we know are out there, but we need some roving reporters to be on the ground helping us find those stories. In terms of our social media reach last year, we did grow significantly last year, thanks to Tegan's work and the rest of the social media team, Ty and Harry and Jake, Jaden, Lockie. I'll probably forget some, so I'll stop there. Katie was in that team as well. So big growth in Instagram, but Facebook still remains really strong for us, and you'll see there we had 72,000 engagements over the event period alone in November itself, and also just Snapchat was very, very popular, using our geo filter over that area, and then our video content. We are very lucky to have a very visual event, and it's one that does translate very well to Instagram and YouTube as well. All right, we've covered off 1 and 2. Let's crack on to number 3. So safety, what do you need to know? Look, if you're going to be a marshal, and we do open up roles for marshals. I didn't cover that before, but we are just calling out for marshals generally, and we know that as people have expressed interest that they've put their name down for that. We have a team who do allocate those rosters in Jefferson Huber and Ben Robinson, so they'll actually be in touch with you about following up in terms of training and everything from here. So really there's a 3-part process. There's a current instructional video that talks through what we're expecting from our volunteers. We do have an existing version of that at the moment. We're going to be revising it in the next 3 weeks, so stay tuned for an updated version. It will be very similar, so even if you watch the existing one, you won't be too far off the point. We have some written documentation that includes rules and responsibilities, so that's a written form of understanding what your role is as a marshal and completing that. And then an online test as well. So if you look that way, there, that's the page on our website that talks about marshal training. And if you go through that process, there is a quiz there, 15 multiple choice questions based on the document and the video content, and it will talk you through what you need to do there. It is a requirement for all of our marshals to complete that training before they grab themselves a vest and a flag, before they actually sign on to their post. We want to make sure that our participants and our spectators are safe, and that the marshals are safe as well and know what they need to do. The next area is in terms of working with children's checks, and funnily enough, or probably not surprising to most of you, but these are mandatory. I would say across the board, but please note that volunteers who are under the age of 18 are exempt. I know we've had a few students particularly from some of the Maryborough School, Maryborough Ed Centre and Highview. They've got a few students that want to come and volunteer with us. They don't need working with children checks. However, everyone else who's over 18 do need these working with children checks. There's a photo of the website that has and really covers off all of the process that you need to do. It is free if you're a volunteer. The important process is that once you actually go through the process, you assign Energy Breakthrough as an organisation that you want to work with. So please make sure you go through that process. If you've got any questions about that, just send me an email or our inquiries team an email, and they'll talk you through what you need to do there. But it's very important for the safety of our children at our event that all of our contractors, volunteers, staff, everyone is covered with a valid working with children's check. All right, we are rocking along. We're up to number 4, accommodation options. Here we go. Yes, we understand it's great to have a bed to sleep in at night, especially after a hard day's yakka volunteering. If you've been judging for 8 or 9 hours, that is hard work. We appreciate that. However, our event site is also pretty much at camping capacity. So we've got 4 different options for you in terms of accommodation. One is that you don't take accommodation at all. That if you're in a Bendigo, Ballarat area, or you're only coming for 1 day, please just plan to just day trip over. It's much, much easier on everyone if it's safe to do so. We don't want people working 12 hours and then driving home with no sleep, but if that is an option to you, then please do consider that. You are more than welcome to stay on site with your old school if you have permission from that school to do so. That is very important, that the teacher in charge or the principal in charge of that school is aware of that and has given you written permission to do that. And then we would love to see a copy of that written permission. This is totally okay for a number of reasons. One, you can start giving back and teaching to some of the younger students who are involved in your old school. You can be a real mentor to some of those when you're not on duty. But also it's a chance for you to still encourage and engage with some of the good school vibes. And no doubt if you've had a good school experience, then you can start perpetuating that on for other people as well. I did this for a number of years with my old school. They didn't mind me being around, and they appreciated that I wanted to give back and volunteer as well. So certainly don't hesitate to do that, and I encourage you to explain. Volunteer with the program, just want to stay with you and go from there. The third one is that we do have some off-site camping locations in Maryborough that we can point you to. They are generally camping and they're usually pretty basic. I just want to put that out there. And for some people, we may be able to find a billet location for you as well. I know that sometimes staying with your old school or day trip is not great, so let's find a solution for you. Then fourthly, accommodation. We do provide it for senior volunteer roles who work multiple days. But we also provide it for some of our La Trobe University students. So we do have a partnership with La Trobe University in which some of their students come and volunteer with us. And part of that partnership is that we do put them up in some basic accommodation for a few days. So if you know anyone at La Trobe University, do give them the heads up on that as well. Point 5. Volunteer perks. I reckon we'll be done by 8 o'clock at this rate. We are killing it. Thank you for tuning in. Volunteer perks. So you have the chance to meet like-minded people, have fun, and feel great about making a positive difference. Okay, so maybe perks is a little bit of a strong word, but here is the volunteering deal. You will receive a branded event shirt, yours to keep, a branded event cap, yours to keep. You get access to the on-site volunteer lounge throughout the weekend. Anytime you're wearing your lanyard, you can go and enjoy free meals, drinks, and a place to sit down during your breaks. If you need to swat up on your Marshal training, you can go and do it there. If you've got any other questions and things like that, the team there at the volunteer lounge will look after you. Post-event, we will provide you with a certificate of appreciation, and if you would like a letter of reference, say you're seeking some employment or just need something on record that you have volunteered with us, then I'm absolutely more than happy, if I know you, to write a letter of reference or have the relevant coordinator in your area write a letter of reference for you. So if you were a display and presentation judge, for instance, then I would ask the display and presentation coordinator to write a letter of reference for you. And of course, you get that warm glow of making a positive difference to young people's lives. Next steps from here. So you've survived this long on our webinar, so you're obviously reasonably engaged and keen. So that's a good first step. Please get in touch with us with any questions. That is the email address, inquiries@eb.org.au. If you haven't already, go to our volunteer page, fill in your details, check your availability, and register there. That captures all of your information for us. So please do that. The EBT team will now assign your role based on your availability and your interests. So they're the interest areas that come through via the volunteering form. So we will work out from there how available people are and need to be, and we'll capture a lot of that in the first cut by the 8th of October, and then we'll start communicating those roles out to you in that first week or second week of October there to everyone. Look, further briefing sessions may be required on different areas, and we will schedule those again via Facebook Live as well. And then post-event, the event itself, we need to come to the event 21st to the 25th of November. And then post-event debrief and thank you. So we do love to close it out either with an event or an activity to invite all of our volunteers to provide some of their feedback on what's worked well, what hasn't worked so well, and also to just share with them a bit of celebration time. So the chance to say, hey, we really loved this, or do you remember this great moment, or enjoyed this part of the program. So that's part of the post-event sort of opportunities, but also really you're our eyes and ears on the ground. So often there's things that we don't know, that we haven't seen, that you can tell us about, to tell us to improve as an event team and an event staff. So that's a really key part of having volunteers and having a debrief process as well. That brings us to the end of our first volunteer session for this year. Please keep filling in through your registrations and your requests. to volunteer, ping me with any queries. That's my email address there, or go through inquiries. They'll both generally get to me eventually anyway. And more than anything, if you have any friends, family, sisters, cousins, brothers who can come and volunteer with us, we do need 700 volunteers over the 4 to 5 days of our events. And so if you know of anyone who would be great in a judging role, in a marshalling role, on one of our stages or on social media, don't hesitate to just tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, there's this great event over in Maryborough in the end of November, and we'd love you to be a part of it. So that brings us to the end of our session tonight. Thank you so much. Please post your comments and questions, and we'll get back to them overnight tonight, and we'll go from there. Thank you.